messing with other guys' players in the portal. That it's amazing how some of these guys in the portal, the day they get out, which are not, they can't have contact with an outside school, but the day they get out of the portal, they've already signed with another school. How does that happen? So, I mean, I think there's tampering with players. I think all those things that go on, and I think people entice with NILs and the transfer, and it's like, and that's the problem in college sports is you don't want to happen.
All right, welcome in. Good afternoon. It is Michigan Football Live on this Tuesday, May the 10th. I'm Dennis Fithian. We're ready to go here, part of the Maize and Blue Review. We're here weekdays at 1 o'clock, part of Rivals.com, talking about the latest in Michigan sports, and that was Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies. He was on the Rich Eisen show recently talking about name, image, and likeness, something you may have heard that is being bandied about a lot in college football circles and elsewhere. We'll talk a little bit about that today. What else are we talking about today? Well, I've got three things on Michigan football that are on my mind, and we will get to those coming up here straight ahead, and a little bonus, little movie coverage for you here today. I was looking through my notes, and I had made a list of the top 3 Spike Lee movies of all time after the spring game, and I was going through and said, hey, I never got to that, so I will get to that today. So looking forward to doing that. Before we go any further, let me tell you about our new sponsor. Hey, folks, Dennis Fithian, and support for the Maize and Blue Review is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off, free worldwide shipping with the code TMBR at manscaped.com. And if you've ever heard people and someone ask if the curtains match the rug, and you're looking here, ladies and gentlemen, yes, they do. Get 20% off free shipping with the code TMBR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code TMBR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right. 3 things on Michigan football as we kick it off here on this Tuesday. 3 things that I'm thinking about. And yes, that first thing is recruiting. And when it comes down to recruiting, first thing that I saw this morning when I fired up the computer is that Ohio State had grabbed a top signal caller for in recruiting. And the story, to read a little bit, it's like, the beat goes on. Ohio State, they just keep pulling in quarterbacks, highly rated quarterbacks left and right. Now, it's not for this upcoming year or the following years. This is the 2024 class, but they grabbed a good quarterback coming up in a few years. One of the top guys, different services, ranking them different ways. Michigan in that particular class is in on CJ Carr locally, and Justin Sayin from out on the West Coast. So maybe Michigan can trump Ohio State and get a commitment from one of those two guys. But a long way off, but it had me thinking when I'm thinking 3 things about Michigan football. One is recruiting. And when it comes to recruiting, in part with that goes the name, image, and likeness. And part of that goes also to the transfer portal, which is a part of recruiting. And I know a lot of Michigan fans, lament, are angry, maybe all of those things when it comes down to the transfer portal because of transfer credits and admission standards and things at Michigan. But if you do look at how Michigan has fared in the transfer portal, it has been pretty good. They look like, I think I'm ready to say for sure that they're going to have an impact player at center in Aluskin Olowatimi, the transfer from Virginia. And I think that they're going to certainly get some depth right there on the other side of the line on defensive tackle with Cam Good. So they've done okay. That, they might not be able to get, this guy or that guy. Yeah, Terrence Shannon maybe was one of them. You think about the guys, and that's the way it works. I'm not here to tell you to look at it any different. You think about the guys more that you lose than the guys that you get, and that you could be getting them all if you had different standards. So that's part of it. Name, image, and likeness is sitting there. Something that all off season we'll continue to talk about. You may have seen over the last 24 hours a lot of stories being written, a lot of people talking about NIL with the NCAA coming in talking about crackdown. I just want to point this out. Like they're saying, oh yeah, don't have boosters get involved in giving money for pay to play. In my entire life, I'm 51 years old. College football teams have been cheating, and more teams that are in the top 10 in college football and in college basketball, I would bet, have paid for players in my entire life that haven't. Teams that are annually in the top 20, top 10, maybe even in the top 25. So there's been cheating going on. So now you're telling me that we get where you can pay the players, but they're just telling, hey, just don't pay them up front. That the schools that, again, more than not, that have been doing it are going to say, oh, okay, well, we'll just pull back and we'll just let them coming and we'll let them just go ahead and pick where they want to go on their own. And then we'll pay them. Like, and one other part here, you could sit around, and if you are somebody that likes name, image, and likeness, I have done this with people that I know, people that I like. Everybody, there's hundreds of different roads you can start traveling down and just start talking about, well, what about this? What about that? Here's the road I'm traveling today. The NCAA, and when I hear people talk about it, say, well, you just don't want coaches and boosters talking about the players they're bringing in. And then, I got to put up a stop sign right there. If I am a booster for Michigan, I have to have some kind of relationship with the coaching staff. I have to be in communication with the coaching staff. So this it's like one of the top things that gets talked about. Well, you can't have any collaboration going on with boosters and pay for play. Well, you have to, and it's not going to work. How am I going to pay if I'm a booster some player that just comes in and he hasn't been identified by the coaching staff? Now, all of that seems ridiculous. And, the part where you can't promise them anything before they come in, and then, they have their deals. How are you going to stop that? I've heard some people suggest, well, the FBI will, get your cell phone records and, they can see when you're talking to them. That seems to be a very easy. I mean, I don't know much about burners, but are they going to be able to maybe, maybe you have to get a burner and you have to have somebody else, with your voice changed or something else saying, yes, you can get $5 million when you come here. And if the NCAA, if I went somewhere for $5 million, called me up and said, hey, why did you end up going to school A? And you said, well, they promised me $5 million. No, you would just say, I went to school here because it's the school I liked. And when I got here, they offered me, an NIL package. Oh, that's the timeline? Okay, thanks. That's as easy as it is. So it's still on my mind. I know it's on a lot of people's mind, but that's the number one thing I'm thinking about with Michigan football today: recruiting, name, image, and likeness, and transfer portal. Now on to things I'm thinking about with Michigan football. Number 2 is the schedule. I was reading a story today. It just popped up on my timeline about the best non-conference football games to be played in college football. That's, a typical story you'll see in the offseason. You're like, ooh, 4 months away. What are we talking about? Well, they weren't talking about, Michigan and Colorado State on September 3rd. It was talking about Ohio State and Notre Dame. Now, that is a headline game. That's something over the Labor Day weekend that everybody will be watching. That's something to look forward to. That is great. I have changed over the years. I used to want both an attractive non-conference schedule and Michigan to win every game. And people used to say, I don't care what kind of teams they play. They should play the easiest teams that they can, because it's just about winning all of your games. And if you can schedule wins, do that. I say, there's a difference. You go to games, you cover games. There's a big difference between hanging out at Michigan Stadium for a tailgate and you've got a top 25 matchup coming up. You've got Michigan Notre Dame coming up, to where you're going to have Michigan Hawaii, for instance, in the second week. But it's not a lot to complain about this year, because you look to last year and the year before. I was looking forward to going out to Washington and that home and home against the Huskies. That was going to be awesome. Didn't happen because of COVID. The Huskies did come in last year, very attractive game. Now the Huskies, that lost to Montana, so it kind of took away some of the what are we talking about here? Is Michigan got a cupcake, and Washington wasn't any good, but you can't predict those things. You could try. You get a Power 5 school and one that's got some name recognition behind it, and you give it a try. Now you just look to the upcoming year. So this year, I'm not going to complain a lot. Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn. That is as cupcake as it gets for Michigan. The Wolverines should be undefeated, will be undefeated going into the start of the Big Ten season. They host Maryland. They should win that one. Michigan season, you can make a case, really doesn't start until October the 1st when they go to Iowa. And yeah, we'll find out some things. Just like you go to a practice, you find out some things. You're not going to find everything out about Michigan until they go to Iowa, their first road game, their first really what should be at least on paper, as we sit here talking about a game that they could possibly lose. But let's just look at the upcoming schedules, the future schedules, if you will, for Michigan and Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn. Real lightweight schedule this year, no doubt. What about next year? 2023, East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green. Ooh. So that's 2 years in a row of super easy, soft scheduling by Michigan. Do you care? No, maybe if you start, I don't like you're a season ticket holder. You might say, boy, I can just hand these tickets away. Nobody wants to go. Everybody wants to go to the opener and then East Carolina. But by the time you work through UNLV and Bowling Green, it's kind of like, wow, how much am I paying for these tickets? You might want to see somebody like Notre Dame or somebody from a Power 5 conference on there. Not BG, no offense. When you travel down 75, you drive right through the campus. Nothing against UNLV, the alma mater of Randall Cunningham, but no, it's not very attractive. But again, not complaining about it. And then you just look to the future. An easy one. If it's perfect for all teams in college football, you like to see a real easy one, like a tune-up. And then a kind of easy one, and then, a losable game. And I will forward you, let's say 24's future schedule. Fresno State, Devontae Adams, alma mater, at Texas. Ooh, at Texas. Arkansas State, there you go. And then you see in the future, Oklahoma worked in there as well. Now, these schedules with Texas and Oklahoma were made before these two teams jumped to the SEC. And if you know anything about the SEC, these teams normally don't want to schedule home and homes. If I had to predict, I would bet both Texas and Oklahoma drop these games. I hope that's not the case, because I wouldn't mind seeing Texas and Oklahoma in the future come into the big house. But I don't think that those games are going to happen, which is going to leave a hole there for Michigan. We got to wait and see if it's going to happen. But thinking a lot about the schedule today, number 2 as well. Now, you have any thoughts out there? You're watching the broadcast today. You're listening to it. You can leave a message, whether it's on recruiting, which was number 1 on the list today, number 2, about scheduling, or the third thing that's on my mind, which I will get to right now, and that is playmakers on defense for Michigan. The offense, you want to feel good about Michigan football in the offseason? Well, just think about last year. Think about being the defending champs. Think about beating Ohio State. Those are all nice things to think about. And then you think about that schedule, and then you think about Michigan's offense. And then you go over to the defensive side, and you think, where are the playmakers on the defensive side? And the three that get talked about the most, should be talked about the most: Mike Morris, Junior Colson, Jalen Harrell. There they are. Are one of those guys going to emerge to be like all Big Ten, possibly even bigger than that? That's what I'm thinking about, kind of playmaking ability that could happen for Michigan. Okay, let me get to the spring game. Back at the spring game, when I was reviewing my notes, Spike Lee was there. Colin Kaepernick was throwing at halftime and everything else, and I went through and scrolled through all of Lee's movies, and I came up with a top 3 Spike Lee movies of all time. At number 3 is The Five Bloods. If you have not seen this movie, it is a 5 friends, colleagues, go back to Vietnam, or is it 4? There could be I don't spoil things there, but Chadwick Boseman, the late Chadwick Boseman, is in this film. Bunk and Lester from The Wire. Spike Lee should make more war movies. He's excellent at it. You get some, I would say 10, 15 minutes of some incredible cinematography from Spike Lee, and it coming down to war movies. Just really, really good stuff. And interesting the way he puts it all together. A thumbs up for The Five Bloods, which is a pretty recent movie. I think in the last 2-3 years it came out. Maybe a little bit more than that. Seems like Boseman, I don't know, he just passed away. So maybe it's 5 years. Time goes by fast. Number 2 on my list of Spike Lee all-time movies, I have He Got Game. He Got Game always seems like, he's talking about just over these last couple of days that, college basketball's, going to a hell of a handbasket, everything's going to be ruined and everything else. When I was growing up, you watch, was it Blue Bloods? Is that what it, with Shaq in there? All kinds of different ones. And then He Got Game. You got Denzel recruiting his son, Ray Allen, Jesus Shuttlesworth, to the governor's alma mater so he can get reduced prison time. And the son and dad, all the way through playing hoops. Come on. This is a total thumbs up movie. Excellent sports movie. Is still relevant till today. Number 2, He Got Game from Spike Lee movies. And number 1, I was surprised I looked at, I don't know if it was, they have all the different rating systems, Rotten Tomatoes and everything else. And, I look at that a lot of times when I'm looking through movies, but it did not have the acclaim that I thought that would have behind it. Miracle at St. Anna, inspired by true events, a World War II behind enemy lines shot in Italy movie by Spike Lee, a joint. This is a fabulous movie. I'm going to say one of the most underrated movies of all time. It has a great ending. You know how many times you watch a movie and you say, yeah, it's not bad, and then just don't know about the ending. Like, I could make the case He Got Game at the end. Is that the greatest ending? No. Miracle at St. Anna is a spectacular ending. I mean, it doesn't even get any better than that. I don't know how you could make it any better than that. And all the way through, and again, just like in The Five Bloods, Spike Lee, cinematography, war, some of the action scenes there. He's a hell of a director. I think he should make more, say it for the third time, war movies. So that's it when it comes down to The Five Bloods. I want to remind everybody that you're watching here, Michigan Football Live, Michigan Football Basketball Live. We are part of the Maize and Blue Review. You should join up. Go to MichiganRivals.com and join us there. We're there every day. I'm there all the time. Talking Michigan football, basketball, Michigan sports, everything that's going on in the world of sports. I'm there commenting all day and all night. Don't forget here that if you don't subscribe to the YouTube channel, do all that. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I have put the icon up there for TikTok, which I am launching. I have launched myself, and I have put some of my own. I put 2 videos that I captured over the years. In one, I'm very proud of, and it may have been. I'll have to think through this. It was Michigan's first night game. It was against Notre Dame. And, back then, when you were in the media, you could go down on the field. It changed when Don Chain, the former Channel 7 news anchor, who's up for the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, wasn't paying attention. And he was on the sideline. I think he's up maybe looking at some girls in the stands. And he got blasted by one of the football players, gave himself, and after that, as soon as I saw it, they were kind of laughing it off. Hey, Don wasn't paying attention. I was like, oh no, Michigan's going to ban reporters down on the sideline. And they did. But prior to that, you could go down, you can hang out on the sideline. Well, the night game, I was in position to get a video of the Roy Roundtree from Denard Robinson last second touchdown grab. And the reason I'm proud of it, you take videos yourself, how once everything happens, people are jumping around. I'm probably 10, 15 feet, standing just like right in the back of the end zone. And, it was actually an iPad. Actually, this one right here, I think. And, my camera, I think it's pretty good camera work. You got to check that TikTok out. It's Maize and Blue Review on TikTok. If there's anything else, I got 4 or 5 other videos there. It's just in its infancy right now, but check that out. Okay. Thanks for watching. The rest of this week, we've got heavy hitter guests where we'll go Justice, Scar, and a big recruiting Friday with Zach Libby, who's all around the country looking at football recruits. So we'll have that coming your way on Friday. Thanks for watching. Everybody have it's a spectacular day out there. I'm watching the doubleheader in baseball, hit some golf balls, and, some exercise in. All right. Have a great day. See you. Bye. Thanks for watching.